Okay, so wanted to do a review for The Exorcist III um, from 1990, directed by William Peter Blatty, or Blatty. It's the first time I've watched it. I know in like a lot of horror fans are big fans of this movie. So I'll just jump into the review. I liked it. Um, I know some people like it more than the first one. Yeah, I'm not sure. I think I still like the first one more, but it's good. It's it's well shot. It's well directed. It's very creepy. That's for sure. Um, I don't know if this is William Peter Blatty's first time directing. Okay, he did the ninth configuration. Which that movie looks pretty weird too. I haven't seen that, but oh yeah, there's a director's cut of this too. I haven't. I just watched the normal cut. Um, but yeah, it's a good movie. I really like George C. Scott. He's a great actor. Obviously he's in Doctor Strangelove. You know, he's in a lot of different stuff. Brad Dourif is in it. Um, Mainly takes place in like a hospital. It's like a hospital that also has like a mental ward too. So, um, well, I'm looking at stuff George C. Scott's done. Man, he's done tons of stuff. I haven't actually seen a lot of it. He's in Patton. Should watch that. But anyways, I really liked it. So I guess I'll just go into spoilers. I mean, the movie came out decades ago, um, so basically, like, there's this guy in this mental ward. Well, first off, some people are getting killed, and they don't know who's doing it. And there's this guy in this mental ward, and George C. Scott is a cop, I think. He's a cop. He's a detective, and he's looking into who's doing these killings. And then years before, there was there's serial killer who's dead now, but some people think it's him, but he's dead. So he's looking into these killings, and he um and there's these different deaths occurring, and then one of his friends who's a priest, um he gets put in the hospital. Forget how he got injured or something. I think, or he had a heart attack. I don't know, something like that. And he gets put in the hospital, and then he visits him, and then he ends up getting killed too. And they don't know how. And then it seems like that this one lady did it, but she's like basically very old and like catatonic, and she can barely move. And and then um and the way that the priest died is pretty brutal. All the blood is drained out of him and is put into these little cups. and there's not a drop of blood on the floor or on the cups or anything. So that's, like near impossible. Um, so he starts to, think this is pretty weird, and then he says he wants to go see the mental ward. I think it's like the most violent site, like, mental ward. So he goes in there. He starts hearing, I don't know about voices, but he starts hearing something coming from one of the rooms. He looks in the room, and then later he actually visits the guy, and it's kind of strange because it's like Brad Dourif, but it's also the priest from the first Exorcist movie. But he's like, "You're dead," um, and it kind of phases in and out between him and Brad Dourif, and I don't know. It's an interesting movie. I found it very creepy. Um, like there's this famous scene with the old lady climbing on the walls like a spider, and that's in the hospital, and you eventually find out that he's using catatonic people to possess, and then he uses them to go kill people, and he chops off the head of I think of a nurse, and then and then he finds out that this medical device that's used to cut off the head in an autopsy, I guess, is missing, so they had to buy a new one, and then he um, when he's talking to the guy in the cell, he threatens his daughter. He says, "I'm going to get your daughter," and and then he almost does, because this nurse who's a catatonic person dresses up as a nurse, has the device, goes to George C. Scott's house, and then he gets there in the nick of time. But she almost cuts her head off. In fact, I think the grandma saves his daughter and pulls her away. So he's basically able to leave his cell and possess other people, and he says like catatonics are the easiest to possess or something. Um, so, but I won't go through the whole plot. But it's a pretty good movie. I mean, I haven't seen Exorcist 2, but I hear that's terrible. So um, I'd recommend it. He George C. Scott's a great actor. And who's the guy that plays the priest in the first one? Trying to find his name, but he's a really good actor. Obviously, Brad Dourif's a great actor. Um, and then there's an exorcism at the end, and I guess that was added because originally there wasn't going to be an exorcism in the movie, I guess. You can kind of tell it's tacked on at the end, but I think it works actually. Um, and then him and that priest basically, get the demon out of him, or and and then he shoots him, and then he's like it's out of me, like, and then he says to shoot him. So I guess he can go to heaven or whatever. Um, and and that's pretty much the end of the movie. Um, it's a pretty brutal, dark movie. But yeah, I guess originally it was just going to be called Legion, and then it wasn't going to be connected to The Exorcist, I think. But it's kind of weird though, because like he knew the priest from the original, and that's throughout the movie. He talks about that he was good friends with him, and he's also transforming into him throughout the movie. So I don't really know, but Okay, so here it is. Here's some trivia. William Peter Blatty made the film based on his novel Legion, which was published in 1983. Morgan Creek decided to call it Exorcist III Legion, even though the screenplay and novel featured no exorcism whatsoever. After principal photography was completed, the misleading nature of the title was noticed, and the producers determined that additional scenes needed to be written and then added to the film in order to make it a more recognizable sequel to The Exorcist. The last film third of the movie had to be entirely redone, with the insertion of a new character, Father Morning, and of an exorcism scene that cost nearly $4 million. Wow. William Peter Blatty wanted the film to be titled Legion, just like his novel. The producers, however, wanted to be Exorcist III for commercial reasons. Blatty even tried to convince him to alter it to The Exorcist 1990 in order to distance itself from Exorcist 2, which he despised. He had to settle for Exorcist 3. Okay, well, I should check out the director's cut then, but um, oh wow, William Peter Blatty offered directorial responsibilities to John Carpenter, who liked his script but backed out when it became clear that Batty really wanted to direct the movie himself. Okay, yeah, that could have been cool though, but I think it's well directed though, so it has a weird style. I like it though. It's different. On the cinematic exorcism scene, William Peter Blatty later said, "It's all right, but it's utterly unnecessary, and it changes the characters of the piece." Although at the time, Blatty told the press that he was happy to reshoot the film's ending and have the story climax with a frenzy of special effects, the truth is that this compromise was forced on him against his wishes. The original story that I sold to Morgan, that I sold and I shot, ended with Kinderman blowing away Patient X. That makes sense, which is what he does, but that's after he's exorcised. I don't know. I think it works though. A lot of times, like crazy reshoots, like you should reshoot the last third of a movie, it turns out terrible. But I don't know. I think it kind of works. And Demand of an Exorcism. The producers also wanted to add the actor from the first movie, Jason Miller. Is that his name? Yeah. So he's in it, who had played Father Karras in the first movie and was unavailable to shoot The Exorcist III when principal photography started. Was called to shoot a few scenes as Patient X. In order not to remove the work that had already been done by Brad Dourif in that role, writer and director decided to use footage of both actors. Yeah. Jason Miller can be seen as Patient X when he's manifesting the Karras personality, and Brad Dourif can be seen when he's conveying the Gemini killer's personality. Okay, that's right. So he is the Gemini killer. It's just kind of confusing because they're like, well, we killed the Gemini killer, but I guess I don't know. I'm not explaining it that well, but Samuel Jackson as a blind man in the dream sequence. His voice is dubbed for one line. Um, but I don't know. I guess that's about it. I don't know. I really liked it. I'm gonna try and check out the director's cut. Um, so yeah, that's about it. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe.